Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome back. In case you're new to my channel, I am currently participating in Ceri the Crafter's Mixed Media March 25 challenge. The rough parameters of which are you need to make a rectangular shaped object each day in the month of March. You need to incorporate jelly printing, the number that corresponds to the day and the month you're doing the project, and your signature on the finished piece. As part of this, what I am doing is I am working on right now creating identification cards for the Flora and Fauna found in a whimsical Wonderland-esque kind of place. And if you've been following along so far this month, I've already made several ID cards. And so we are on card number, I think this is 5. And I showed you how I made our bases for our identification cards in the first video of this month. I will leave a link to that playlist as well as Ceri the Crafter's introduction to the challenge video down below. So for today's identification card, we're going to do another faux photo, kind of like this guy where we paper piece our jelly prints onto our faux photo. So let me start by hunting out the image I want to use. We are going to do this little guy because I needed to have a dragon like this. And if I had a better sized unicorn, we'd still be doing a unicorn, but none of my unicorn stamps are kind of sized right for these guys. So what we're going to do is this is that finger paint paper that I used for doing a lot of my jelly prints. And as you can see, this is cut off from the first one that we did. And my trimmer has a decal edged blade. If you have, I know Tim Holtz and I don't know if it's Tonic or Ranger have the decal edge guillotine style trimmer. You could use that. You could also use a tearing ruler or just cut it straight. That's an option too. So let's start by cutting this up. And our spot is, let's see, not quite 1.5. It's not quite 1.5 by a little over 1.5. So I think I'm going to cut this down to 1.25 by 1.5. And I am going to, let's see, flip this over and cut this at 1.5 high. Oop, no, we need to cut the top off first so that it's got our, oh, and it helps if you actually grab the blade that you want out and put it in the trimmer. It works so much better that way. Just throwing that out there. Now we're gonna go to 1.5. Like that. And then 1.25. Like that. Why does that seem small? Let's bring our piece back over. Our image is just gonna fit. Okay. Now, with old photos, one of the other things, and you know what? Let me put the correct blade back in my trimmer. Oof. Now, one of the things with old photos is they usually have like the white around the edge of the picture. So what we're gonna do is just block off a tiny bit using some not so sticky Post-its, mostly because our dragon just barely fits, so I don't want to block off too much or he's gonna be going off the page a little bit kind of thing. Just make sure he's still gonna fit. Yes, he will. All right. And then I'm going to grab a brush and some tea dye and just ink the background a little bit. Because these are not very sticky and aren't stuck down well, I'm just holding them in place as I go around. All right, okay, not great. Probably should have cut it a smidge bigger, but too late now. And I want to add some inky splatters on it, but instead of doing the vintage photo, let's grab, I'm feeling peacock feathers. So what I'm going to do is grab my peacock feathers. I'm going to grab an acrylic block. I'm going to go smoosh, spritz with a little water. Do that. Kind of go. Ooh, that did not work. That was that. Yeah, no. All right, that we're gonna redo. We're gonna just redo that piece. I'm gonna pull over my Misty for doing this because it's got the sticky mat in the bottom. And we're gonna stick this down and stick our pieces of paper down again. All right, take two. Tea dye. Better. And I'm flipping it over just to kind of smush it a little. Kind of spread that out a little bit. Now we're going to be stamping over it, so some of that will be covered, but that worked much better. Now we're going to go ahead and stamp our dragon on here because we are going to paper piece him like we did with the mushrooms. But I find it works a lot better if you've got the image stamped down and then do your paper piecing on top of that. And I'm going to use archival for this because this paper's a little slick. And this is My Favorite Things stamp set. Isn't he just adorable? I'm going to use this little spatula thing to get this piece up because I know from the last time you got to be very careful pulling this paper off the sticky mat. I think my dog wants it. No, maybe he's laid down. I gotta go see. I think Bert may want to come back in the house. I'll be right back. All right, so I grabbed another piece of jelly printing that I've done, and I'm gonna kind of line it up because this is like a leaf stencil on here, and I figured that might be interesting for our little dragon. Let's do that. Stamp. Go like that. Then I also want, I think it's wings out of this. Just trying to make sure I'm getting a spot that didn't have the powder resist so that I actually get color for the piece that I'm going to cut out. That works. Okay, so next step is to cut all of that stuff out, which I don't think you want to watch me do on camera. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut everything out and come back and we'll do assembly. Okay, I realize some of the pieces I'm cutting out of this one are so teeny tiny that I'm gonna end up losing them if I cut them off screen and then try and do assembly. So we're gonna start assembling. This way I can glue them down as I cut them out. So I cut out my dragon body and I'm just gonna glue him down. And I didn't bother cutting out like his toes because I was like, we stamped it down already, so we don't have to worry about his little toes. All right, now I'm gonna put a teeny tiny dot of glue here and get his wing on. Yeah, that's his wing. It's itty bitty. Here, you know what, let's zoom in so you can actually see what I'm doing. So yeah, that's the teeny tiny wing. And I'm gonna cut this piece and those two little horns out of this guy. So yeah, I realized after I cut the wing out, I'm like, I'm gonna lose these pieces before I get back to filming. Don't know if you can see me cutting out. I don't know if I'm on screen, but I gotta hold this kind of close to my face so that I can see it. I don't know why I do these insane things to myself. That's the little guy. That's the bigger horn. Let's try and get it flipped right side up. This guy, which is not cut out all the way. There we go. There's a spot that's kind of white over here that I think would be better off if I grabbed a pen. Just grabbing a micron 005 and coming in and just touching up that edge a little bit. There we go. There's our faux dragon photo. Oh my God, I love that. Even though it was a pain in the neck to do, I really like how that came out. All right, let's pull over our specimen ID card thing that it's going to go on and finish it up. So as I've done with all the other ones, I've got a block, I've got some vintage photo on it. I'm gonna give it a light spritzing and stamp it down like that. Got a quick dry. We need our date stamp, and this is number 5. Again, I'm inking the first part, and then I'm doing my best, because this is a 2025 date stamp, to not get the 20 on the year part. And let's put our mat over so that we stamp a little bit better. Having something squishy under you when you're stamping helps it to stamp better. Let's do our observations using, this is a Crafty by Tony Scripty stamp. I'm going to stamp it off and turn it right side up and stamp that there. And we are going to grab something that my desk has eaten. This is a Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous stamp. I don't remember which stamp set it comes from. I probably announced it in the first video where I made these pieces and the first identification card. And again, I just covered the parts I didn't want to ink, although that should have gotten cleaned off a little more, but that's all right, with some paper so I could just ink one of the numbers. I've got my filed stamp. I'm going to use Versafine Satin Red. Stick that there. Our received stamp, I'm going to kind of do that over there. And yes, I know it has 1944 as the year, and we're doing 1825, but I'm not too worried about it. Don't look that close. I'm just grabbing a stamp from Curator CMS 493 to kind of fill in over here. I'm gonna use, I think, Versafine Clair Pine Cone, but I'm gonna stamp it off first because I don't want it too dark. That worked well. And let's see, I need to do my signature and fill in that. So what we're gonna do is grab my fountain pen. I'm going to sign as the collector and add that so it looks like it's 1825. And then we're going to put a little glue dot in the center to glue this down. And then we're going to put on the edges some of my faux antique tape. Now I made my own faux antique tape, being just clear Scotch tape and alcohol inks. I know Tim Holtz now has like the sticker book of tape in case you don't have alcohol inks. But if you do, it's really easy to make your own and a lot cheaper to make your own. And I probably should go check on my dog, or did I let him in? I think I might have let him in. I hope I let him in, or he's out somewhere in the yard. Oh goodness. It's never good when you get so absorbed you don't remember where Bert is. Because that's how we have Bert escape, and you have to go hunt him down the whole neighborhood. Need one more piece of tape. Oh my god, I think he's so adorable. I love him. All right, so that one's done. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.